Cruise news time. Well, Carnival, they've got a statement about their latest cruise ship fight. The cruise ship that struck an iceberg, ready to go back into service. We got us a good old COVID outbreak on a cruise ship in Australia, and we've got a cruise line that's going deep. If you're worried about the cruise restart, we got a cruise line going deep. 12 cruise ships over the next few years. That's quite the investment. Cruise news. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony. Here with the latest cruise news updates. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Monday, July the 11th, 2022. We've got cruise news to talk about. First cruise news story, Carnival has issued a statement about the fight that happened on the Carnival Elation just a few days ago. Carnival, in their statement, acknowledged the fight. They said it was currently being investigated by local authorities, and they issued the warning that anybody in these kind of fisticuffs, any kind of altercations like this on their cruise ship, well, they would not be allowed to cruise with Carnival any further. And so they're trying to close the loop on this. There were some innocent bystanders hurt during this fight, and it really prompted me to ask the question. I've never seen a fight. I've been on 31 cruises. I've never seen a fight on a cruise ship. And I put a poll up, and I had to take the poll down. At the time I took the poll down, there were 5,400 respondents, and of the 5,400, 94% of you were like me. You've never seen a fight on a cruise ship. 6% of you have seen a fight on a cruise ship. Sadly, I had to take that poll down, and I even hate to talk about these fighting cases, is because this is one of those topics where it really brings out the racism in people, like the low-key racism. I have deleted so many comments of people. Surely people know that they're being racist when they use some of the language that they use. Honestly, I can't believe in 2022 that we still have people that don't understand when they're being racist. Or they do understand that they're being racist and they're being racist anyways. It's annoying. I've added a couple other words to the block list so I don't have to go through those comments. But seriously, if you're out there and you're still using terms like those people or you people or ghetto, check your prejudice. Come on. It's 2022. Wow. It's an important topic. I guess the thing that I wanted to say is that the majority of us haven't seen a lot of fights on cruise ships. And so there's also another narrative that's running at the same time, like, wow, there's all these fights on cruise ships. What's changed in the world? There's not a lot of fights on cruise ships. It's just it's media worthy. A fight on a cruise ship is media worthy. And so you've got, everybody talking about it, me included. Your perception might be, wow, the fights are increasing on cruise ships. But I would challenge you that that's not really the case. We're just hearing about a few fights on cruise ships. Again, we've heard 2 Carnival, 1 Royal, and, then you got to go Google to find stuff after that. So, there's millions of people cruising right now. Fighting is not that pervasive on the cruise ship. Obviously, when it happens, we're going to see it. We're going to talk about it. But, gosh, again, with the low-level racism, I don't even want to talk about it. But there's the update. Carnival's aware. There's an investigation. They're going to ban people who fight, and as they should. Cruise news story number 2. There's a COVID out. I don't even want to talk about COVID, so I won't talk about COVID until later. But there is a situation with COVID in Australia, and I do need to draw the comparison to COVID in the U.S. Do we have to talk about COVID? Let's talk about something else first. The Norwegian Sun, it hit an iceberg in Alaska. That doesn't seem like a fun story, but that was the story. Last month, that cruise ship bumped into a growler, a small piano-sized, pickup truck-sized iceberg in the water, damaged the cruise ship, caused them to cancel the cruise that was currently in progress, and 2 cruises after that ship had to go and get repaired from iceberg damage. And now the iceberg damage is done. The other interesting, so they're going to start cruising again on July the 14th. That's the big takeaway. They're going to resume their sailing. They're even going to go back to where they hit the iceberg, and they're going to go through that area again to see the glacier. And so all is well as ends well. But what I did hear on that cruise ship is for the short term, they're not going to be serving any iceberg lettuce. I'm just kidding. Anybody love a good wedge salad? I don't think there's a ban on iceberg lettuce, but maybe if my cruise ship hit an iceberg, I wouldn't be serving iceberg lettuce. How about that? Boom. Any good jokes out there on a Monday? I saw a commentary channel talking about a TikTok account. I can't even remember the name of the TikTok account, but they tell dad jokes, and this joke had me rolling all night. The joke is this: why do people who enjoy escargot or enjoy snails, how come those same people don't go to McDonald's? Well, those same people, they don't enjoy fast food. It's funny because snails are slow. Get it? I don't know. Okay, that's not Cruise news story number 3. There is a cruise company out there in the midst of all of these challenges in the cruise business that says over the next few years, we're going to build 12 new cruise ships. And you're thinking, well, who's got the money to do that? Well, it's the cruise line that's backed by the huge shipping company, MSC, Mediterranean Shipping Company. They're going to be building 6 new cruise ships for their MSC Cruises line and 6 new cruise ships for the Journeys Explorer line, the Explorer's Journey line. That's the correct way to say it. That's the luxury brand for MSC, and they've slotted it out. MSC, the cruise company, they've had a couple new cruise ships this year, and then they're going to be putting them out one right after the other all the way into 2027, and then the same thing for the Explorer's Journey, new cruise ship every year over the next few years. That's a huge investment, and as an observer and a commentator on the cruise business, I'm not sure what the takeaway is. We're in a scenario where at least the stocks for the major cruise companies continue to be up and down. The questions about whether the cruise industry is going to continue to push forward, which I think they will. I think their position it's a high profitability endeavor, cruising, and demand is there. So I think that the cruise business is going to be okay. But wow, MSC, they're like, all right, this is the time. We're gonna start building cruise ships, and we're gonna be really well positioned over the next few years to continue to be a major player in the cruise industry. I know that not everybody in North America is warmed up to the MSC cruise experience, but yeah, they're interesting because they go right at Royal Caribbean and Carnival from a price perspective, and as they continue to dial in the experience for North American cruisers, I think over the next few years they may displace the big three we always consider: Royal, Carnival, Norwegian Cruise Line. I think MSC is trying to fight and claw their way into one of those spots. So it'll be interesting to see. It's a positive story for the cruise industry because anytime you get more investment on that level, that's a good thing. So a pretty cool story. And then the only thing left to talk about is this COVID story out of Australia. But before we get there, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising. Had a little phlegm there. Cruising. Sorry, that was a little gross. Please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. And yes, the story is coming out of Queensland, Australia, that the Coral Princess has a COVID outbreak. This is the language that the government officials are using there. About 100 cases on board between crew members and passengers. Now, Princess said the previous cruise only had 20 passengers with COVID, so there is an increase there. And the government officials there, they're not freaking out. They're not talking about shutting cruising down. They're going along with the, look, the protocols are in place. These are the protocols the cruise lines agreed on. These are the protocols that we agreed with them. Tourism is important. Everybody's doing the right thing. Everybody's following the protocols. Guess what? COVID's everywhere. That was essentially the statement from the government, and that does seem to be the overall statement about COVID in general right now in the world. COVID is everywhere, and we're not going to shut down cruising because of COVID. Now, here in the United States, we still have, testing and other requirements, stuff like that, it's going to be interesting to see if those things go away over time. But it does seem like everybody's getting set up to just live with COVID. It's an interesting time. Of course, Omicron continues to mutate. We're dealing with BA4 and BA5. The officials there in Queensland said that those are the dominant strains of COVID right now, and it continues to be contagious even among vaccinated people. There's only about 40% of the population vaccinated there in Queensland. They are seeing a spike in hospitalizations, and so it's interesting to see how this plays out. Again, I think we're at this place where we're living with it as long as hospitals don't get overrun, that kind of thing. And so I think I don't foresee like cruising shutting down or government shutting down. Again, that's my just layman sitting here reading and trying to understand stuff perspective. But so they're still using the word outbreak down there in Australia. It's almost like Australia, because they've started a few months behind us, they're going through some of those restart things. Like the first time that it happens on a cruise ship, it's like, whoa, but it again, not a big shocker. So there you go. Don't leave. I do want to talk a couple more things about my cruise on the Scarlet Lady. I put out the review yesterday. Make sure that you check out that review. I got asked there, how much did that cruise cost? I didn't know. This one I wasn't, as the Bahamas Paradise review, I included the cost just because it was a 2-day cruise and I wanted to really hone in on that. and the prices vary and all that stuff. But I did go look it up for anybody that was asking. I paid $1,556 before I got on the cruise ship, and then once I was on the cruise ship, I spent about $150. But the $150 that I spent, $74 on souvenirs. I got a magnet, a sticker, and a ship model to give away. And then I also spent $40 on the internet, so that's about $111. So I only spent about, I don't know, $36 on drinks. I had a couple coffees. I had like a Bloody Mary and a White Russian, so really only 2 alcoholic beverages. And then the rest of it, I drank, the soda that was included with my base price. And then they put water in your cabin every day. Here's the glass carafes. They fill this up every day for you, your room steward. And I'm assuming it's filtered water. They offered sparkling water, and this would be in the cabin every day, which I thought was nice. You didn't have to buy water, and you always had access to water. And then I didn't get to show this. There's a full-on arcade on there. Again, I did a 27-minute review, but there was so much to talk about. The arcade was cool. It was free. You could play all these retro games, and it didn't cost you any quarters. So that's that. And yeah, go check out that Scarlet Lady review. Am I too fat? Am I too old for Scarlet Lady? That should give you some insights. Thank you for checking out the show today. Do me a solid, hit the like button. This is Tony for La Lido Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.